Hello and welcome to this week's Ruby Shoes podcast, bringing you the very best of local entertainment across East Anglia each and every week. This week's episode, it's all about the girls. We've an interview with the director Helen Clark from the Gallery Players, who is soon to open Playhouse Creatures, a fascinating piece of restoration theatre telling the true story of the female pioneers who first trod the boards. Then we hear about a Terry Pratchettt play, Wyrd Sisters. That's coming to the Sheringham Little Theatre. And then to round off this week's episode, we've some great local entertainment you might like to go and see, which is happening at a theatre near you this week. First, let's hear from the director of the Gallery Players, who are in their final rehearsals of Playhouse Creatures, a fascinating true-life tale of the very first women in theatre. Now on the Ruby Shoes podcast, Playhouse Creatures by April De Angelis tells the story of the first actresses on the English stage. We're introduced to 5 gutsy women who find their home in the theatre. Audiences flock to the theatre to see these dazzling women strut their stuff up on the stage. These women were exotic, but more daringly, they were independent. In an age when most women were deemed to be the property of their husband or their father, these women controlled their own destiny. So they earned their own money, they appeared to be larger than life. But for some, the future may be uncertain. And to tell us more is the director of Playhouse Creatures, Helen Clark. Helen, thank you so much for joining us on Ruby Shoes. I'm really looking forward to this because this is right up my street. I'm very much for independent, working women finding their own way in the world. And these were the pioneers, basically, weren't they?
Oh, they really were. I mean, for their time, they were extraordinary. Most of them, Nell Gwyn is the most famous, and she appears in the play, but there were others too. I mean, most of them had the same sort of origins as Nell Gwyn, really poor, not particularly educated. For some of them, the stage was a way of getting off the streets, of making money. Others had a real calling for it. It's a real mishmash, but they are quite incredible women, still facing lots of problems, even though they've been allowed on stage. They still had all the problems that all the women in the industry still face. They get old, they fall pregnant, they upset rich and powerful men. So they have quite a ride. I think you'll love it. I think it will really ring true for a lot of women. And a lot of men will enjoy it as well.
Definitely, because they're all quite different as well, aren't they? The characters. Tell us a bit more about the character. You said about Nell Gwyn, obviously favourite of the king, but also she's joined by Mary Betterton. Tell me a bit more about Mary.
Mary is a fascinating character. These women are all real people. They all existed in 17th century theatre. So Mary Betterton was actually related to Richard Burbage, who'd worked with Shakespeare, and she became famous for her Shakespearean performances, some of which we glimpse in the play. They're very different from modern Shakespeare performances, but at the time, she was renowned. She's married to Thomas Betterton, who is the manager of the theatre, and she's sort of the matriarch of the troupe. For most of the play, she leads it. And she's passionate about theatre, and she has some beautiful speeches about what theatre means to her, what it's like to act, to go on the stage, what it was like to be one of the first women to speak on stage, and what a sensation that was. People flocked to the theatres to see these women because it was so unusual.
And Nell's rival, Becky Marshall, there's always a bit of rivalry, isn't there? Especially in the dressing room, all these women all working together. So
there absolutely is. Yes, these two really rivalry. They're all very feisty as well. And Mrs. Marshall is a very intelligent woman. She goes to salons and mixes with men, talks to them about acting, which they love because they've never met actresses before. She's very, very feisty, and she's an up-and-coming actress. She goes into, whereas Mary Betterton is very good at tragedy and Shakespeare, Mrs. Marshall is very, very good at all the restoration comedies. She's very sparky, she's intelligent, witty. So she's fantastic in all this stuff like The Provoked Wife, which is one of the others that we see. But yes, she doesn't get on with Nell at all. And they actually do have a duel on stage.
Oh, wow.
Which is quite cool. Oh, yes. In breeches, which was very, very daring because they showed their legs.
And I mean, women weren't, well, up until that point, they hadn't, because we're talking about sort of 1669 here. Charles II has restored the monarchy, and one of his first acts, I didn't know this, was to decree that from henceforth women should play all the female roles in the theatre. I had no idea that women weren't playing them up until that point.
It was young boys, and there was a lot of scepticism about whether this was moral or allowable, But Charles II had seen women on stage in France, and we all know he liked actresses, particularly Nell. He had an eye for a pretty woman, and it was one of the first things he did. I think he'd been in power about 3 months. He opened the theatres again, which had been shut for 17, 18 years under the Puritans, and he said, right, we're having women on stage, and I'm going to come and watch them, which he did.
So it's probably law, really, that he cast. He thought, I'd like to see this, so I'm going to make this law.
Absolutely. Put his stamp on the country, I think. This is the sort of reign I'm going to have. We're all going to have fun.
Yeah. But this is being put on by Gallery Players. You're directing it, as I said. Now, you've done a huge amount of work, not only with the play itself, but you've created a restoration theatre for this performance. So explain about this, because it's got its own royal box, I understand.
Oh, it does. It does. It has a very grand box with 2 gentlemen in, one earl and one gentleman, who comment on the play as it goes through. Yes, I really wanted to take people back, to make it sort of, as much as we could, a bit of an immersive experience. So when people arrive, there will be lavender sellers. We have a lady selling river water, which apparently was a thing. So keep an eye out for that. We have a preacher who's preaching against the theatre, of course, because there was still a lot of feeling against the theatre. We have some musicians. There's a fiddle. We've got a baroque guitar and a recorder playing some of the music from the period. Some of it very bawdy, but some of it very beautiful and sort of courtly and stately. So it's a little bit of we've surrounded the play with the atmosphere of what it would be like to go into a theatre in that time. It was very noisy. They were quite irreverent. They would throw things at the stage, including oranges, of course, if they didn't like the play. So it was a very, very different atmosphere to now. But then I say that, and then I think of some of the incidents that have been in theatres. Maybe it hasn't changed that much after all.
Yeah, well, women still get a hard time, don't they, in theatre? They seem to have to work twice as hard still just to prove that they can do it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cast, because they must be some very strong actors in their own right to perform these lovely ladies.
They really are. I've been incredibly lucky. We've got a fantastic cast of the five women at the centre of it. We've got Becky Lynch, who has performed in Gallery. She's also in Midsummer Night's Dream. I worked with her before and really, really saw her as Nell Gwynn. She's very bubbly. She's got loads of character. Mary Betterton is Helena Lyons. Now, Helena's mother, Shirley, was with Gallery back in the day, worked a lot with my mother, Pat Taplin. And it's lovely to be able to work with Helena now. And she's a very, very accomplished actress. And who else have we got? Kelly Fletcher, who lectures at Suffolk One in drama. So she brings a huge amount to it as well. And Amelia Green, who's Mrs. Farley, who has rather a sad story. And Amelia is just lovely. Yeah, so fantastic. Oh, and Jenny Horn is Doll Common, the older actress who's almost the spirit of the theatre. She lives there, she breathes theatre. She's been there forever, her whole life. So she's the oldest member of the cast. But they're a fabulous group to work with. We've had so much fun, and they're bringing so much to it. They've got this real passion to give their utmost and really get the most out of the script, which is fabulous. So it's funny, it's moving. Yeah.
And it must be interesting for them as well, being women in the theatre, to know that actually the reason that they're on the stage is because of these women that they're playing, because of their boldness and their bravery to get on there and be the first. They've paved the way for them. That must be quite an interesting dynamic for them, I would think.
Definitely. I think there's a real awareness of what these women achieved and how much we owe them, really. The fact that we're all here and I'm directing a play and a woman's written the play, and we have actors in the play, and it's all testament to the bravery, really, of these women of putting themselves out there and doing what was a very it was quite a hard job. It was difficult. They had a lot of opposition. They had a lot of obstacles in their way, but this is their struggle to be taken seriously on the stage. This play, and yeah, and they prove themselves. So there's a real connection to them with everyone concerned in the play, and some of the speeches really ring true. The things that they say, their feelings about being on stage, really rings true with us all. Yeah.
I bet it does. Can't wait to see it. So, a funny and thought-provoking Playhouse Creatures, as we said, directed by the lovely Helen Clark, who we're talking to today. It's at the Gallery Studio in St George's Street, Ipswich. It's from April the 8th through to the 13th, so not too long now. Just reminding you there, Helen, it's coming up very soon. A few last-minute rehearsals to be done. Tickets booked at galleryplayers.co.uk. How are the rehearsals going? Final question for you. Do you feel that they're just about there, just about ready, or are there still a few tweaks to be done?
Oh, there are always tweaks, but it's really exciting now because everything's coming together. We've got the costumes in place, fantastic costumes and wigs, the real restoration look. They all look fabulous. The musicians were there yesterday, so we're putting it all together. It's really, really exciting. There's such a buzz about it. So, yeah, come and be entertained. Come and see a real restoration stage in a restoration theatre. It's good fun with a raw box.
Wonderful stuff. Helen, always a pleasure to talk to you, and can't wait to see it. I think it sounds fantastic. Right up my street. The April the 8th through to the 13th, Playhouse Creatures. Don't miss it. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Steph.
Now another female director, this time from the Sheringham Little Theatre, who's taken on a Terry Pratchett play, Wyrd Sisters. Terry Pratchett's Wyrd Sisters come to Sheringham Little Theatre from the 28th of March through to the 30th of March, and I'm absolutely delighted to be joined now on the Ruby Shoes podcast by the director, and that's Hazel Martin. Hazel, hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm very well. Very well, thank you.
Very much for joining us. Now, this sounds like a lot of fun. So Terry Pratchett has basically taken Shakespeare's Macbeth and basically turned it up till the knob comes off, it says here. Tell me more.
Well, I would say he's turned it upside down, really, because in Macbeth, the witches cause havoc, create trouble right from the start, whereas our three witches are really trying to put things right. A dreadful thing has happened. A king has been murdered by an evil duke and duchess, and the witches are going to decide that they're going to try and put everything right and put the land back.
Oh, wow.
So that's a synopsis of what, but there's a lot more happening than that.
I'm sure. So these three witches we're talking about, this is Granny Weatherwax, the intolerant, self-opinionated and powerful one. You've got Nanny Og there. She's the down-to-earth kind of vulgar witch. And then Margaret Garlick, naive and fond of occult jewellery and bunnies. So
that's perfectly correct. Yes, but they're working very well together. They bring different qualities to the problem that they're facing, and they are blending well together.
Now, this sounds like a lot of fun to put on. Is it something that you've directed before, this type of thing, or is this very new for you?
No, this is. I've directed for a lot of years for Aylsham High School, musicals, plays, but never a Pratchett play. Debbie asked me if I would direct and handed me the play. And so I said, first of all, yes, of course, I'll direct for you. But so I took the play home, read it 4 times, I think, and thought, actually, yes, we can have a lot of fun with this. But it wasn't the type of play I'd ever directed before. I can remember reading Pratchett's novels and seeing 2 of his plays 20 years ago. So it's been great to come back to it. And yes, I've really, really enjoyed it. Challenging, but very enjoyable.
I think any job as a director must be challenging. I always think I never quite understand why you'd want to be a director, because you have all the stress, really. The actors have lots of stress, but then they get to kind of almost relieve that when they're jumping out on the stage and they're getting loads of audience appreciation. You're in the background still quite stressed and thinking, please don't forget that line, and I hope that light comes on at the right time and all that sort of thing.
I think in this case, I mean, directing the actors has just been a joy. My actors range from aged 18 to 90.
Oh, wow.
There are 22 of them, and some of them, they've worked so hard. I mean, some are playing 4 parts because there's so many characters in this play. And the dressing rooms at Sheringham Little Theatre, you know, they're nice dressing rooms, but they're not really made for a huge amount of people. So you know, they've just worked so hard on this. My biggest worry is the technical side, because I've put in a lot of sound effects. Instead of scenery, I'm using projected images, because there's 24 scenes altogether. And in order to move the play along at speed, one hasn't got time for changing scenery.
No.
So it's literally it's an image on the back wall, which is lovely because you can hold people on stage in a freeze, bring up another part of the stage and have action in another area, that sort of thing, which I like doing because it really gives pace to the piece.
Yes.
So that's what I'm aiming for here, because Pratchett has a lot of scenes with a lot of different locations. So to use scenery would have been, I think, out of the question.
No, fair enough. I think that sounds a brilliant idea. Hazel, what can the audience expect? Who are you aiming this at? You know, who is going to really enjoy this particular production?
Well, there's a lot of Pratchett fans out there. And I'm hoping they're going to come dressed up. That would be quite fun. Aiming, it could be from, well, I would say from teenagers through to any age. I mean, it's got everything. It's funny. It's got this bit of romance in it. It's thrilling. It touches every emotion. So I would say a wide age range.
I think it sounds perfect. So this is actually coming on very soon now. You're not far away from the opening night on the 28th of March. How are you feeling about that? Are you quietly confident? Are you still sort of paddling underneath?
Very confident in my actors. I just need to be confident on lighting and all that sort of thing. Just tying all that into it, really.
Comes together. It always
Yes.
does. And you've got loads of experience, so it's going to be a fantastic play, I'm sure. So this is on from Thursday the 28th, as I said, through to Saturday the 30th of March. And that's at the Sheringham Little Theatre. And how do we get hold of tickets?
From the box office at Sheringham Little Theatre, but I should hurry because they're selling very quickly. The matinee still has tickets. There are some on the other nights, but people need to be phoning up or emailing. Sheringham Little Theatre.
Will do. And their website is sheringhamlittletheatre.com if you want to find out more. Hazel, been a pleasure to talk to you, and send my best to all the cast and break a leg.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed.
If you have an event you'd like the Ruby Shoes podcast to feature, get in touch with us via our Facebook page at Ruby Shoes Podcast.
What's on across Suffolk with Stephanie McIntyre, sponsored by Ruby Shoes Podcast, your weekly entertainment news podcast, available from your smart speaker, Apple, Spotify, or you just follow Ruby Shoes Podcast on Facebook and click on the weekly podcast link to listen.
There's a host of great shows on offer across Suffolk's magnificent theatres, and here's just a selection to tempt you. Thursday the 4th of April from 7:30pm at the Apex Theatre in Bury St Edmunds, you can enjoy the Cavern Beatles. On the 9th of February 1961, the Beatles made the first of their 292 appearances at the now legendary Cavern Club in Matthew Street in Liverpool. Scroll forward 60 years, the Cavern Beatles, a band fully endorsed and licensed by the same club, returned to the Apex in Bury St Edmunds with their remarkable show. The Cavern Beatles are one of the country's longest established tribute shows, able to recreate the incredible Beatles back catalogue and have fastidious accuracy, both musically and vocally. For more information, go to theapex.co.uk. Also on Thursday the 4th of April at 7:45 in Ipswich at the Regent Theatre, the BAFTA award-winning comedian Lee Francis will be coming to the Ipswich Regent Theatre for his first ever live tour, My First Time. Lee's characters and sketches have kept millions of people around the UK laughing for years. Now he's stepping out as himself on an 18-date tour around the country. Join Lee with his favourite characters, all brought to life in a live environment for the very first time ever. From Keith Lemon, Bear and Avid Marion to David Dickinson, Anton Deck and Myrtle, this tour will be packed full of hilarious sketches with buckets of audience participation. So go to ipswichtheatres.co.uk for more information. Friday the 5th of April, and this time at the new Wolsey Theatre in Ipswich, it's the start of the run of Hags, a magical extravaganza, presented by Scratchworks Theatre Company. Packed full of magic tricks, physical comedy and live music, in Bideford in 1682, the final witch trial in Britain took place. 3 women were accused of witchcraft, tried and hanged. Now fast forward to the present day and name one female magician. Pretty tricky. But tonight, all 3 fearless females are climbing out of their boxes, shaking off their sequins and investigating what really happened in a small town in North Devon over 300 years ago. Hags is showing from Friday the 5th through to Saturday the 6th of April. Go to wolseytheatre.co.uk for more information. Also on Saturday the 6th of April at 7:30, it's your chance to enjoy Meatloaf by candlelight as it comes to Felixstowe Spa Pavilion. Join them for an incredible night of Meatloaf anthems, featuring a live cast of West End singers, including stars of the West End production of Bat Out of Hell, accompanied by an incredible live rock band. This concert will feature some of the most iconic songs of all time, including Anything for Love, Bat Out of Hell, 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad, and of course Dead Ringer for Love, and many, many more. Go to spapavilion.uk for more details. You can always listen again to any of the Ruby Shoes podcasts via Apple or Spotify or your smart speaker. Just simply ask your smart speaker, play Ruby Shoes podcast. You can also click on our weekly podcast links on our Facebook page and follow us too for all the latest entertainment news. I'm Steph McIntyre. Thanks for listening, and we'll chat more about live theatre and all kinds of entertainment in next week's episode. In the meantime, check out those socials at Ruby Shoes Podcast, and you have a great week.